This is the Ontario City Hall, flying right over the City Hall. That is Alaska Airlines. That makes Honolulu, which is not coming from the airport, taking off any destination headed toward while they're hovering miles away from the airport. And Alaska Airlines has a terminal that it's assigned to, and the entity is way over here at the Ontario City Hall, stalking, flying over the senior citizen complex, and the people of the state are stalking together while Alaska Airlines, which is the Ontario International Airport, is targeting by being anywhere in this sky space, including highly inappropriate conduct of doing so in the zoning area where the senior citizen and the senior citizens are located and where the City Hall is located. And that is where Paul Leon is directly engaging in the pattern of conduct. Where the entity has the fake moon over the venue, where the entity is flying over the flying in circles, the Paul Leon is engaged in gang stalking. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 7:58 p.m. All right, I want you to see the entity that is stalking. Hear the helicopter activity? This is the entity that was stalking me at 903 North San Antonio Avenue. And every license plate that I documented, every commercial airline company that was Delta Airlines that was stalking, Southwest Airlines that was stalking, and it was also Alaska Airlines that's stalking, flying over the City Hall right now. And as I walk out, the entity is amplifying helicopter activity, and the homosexual flies off, okay? But you already know what they're doing. That's why it's such damning evidence to be doing that at 903 San Antonio Avenue in Ontario, California, where that shows that the people of the state are stalking, just like this does. While they're engaging in it, where the fake sun, as a matter of evidence, is present, as I documented early in the morning, rising here, and as I captured an image for a screenshot for you, setting here, where the entity is targeting. They're monitoring vagina inside of the bathroom of the senior center, which is why the entity is amplifying helicopter activity. These are all sex offenders. They're all vagina monitors. They're all vagina monitors, okay? This is the entity that is gang stalking. There's no plane activity, helicopter activity that's going to be occurring over the City Hall where the mayor is not engaged in that criminal system. They're at the City Hall where the entity is engaged in that P.O.C. and they're doing so because they share in that criminal pattern of conduct. Myra and Mickey were stalking me going over toward what is D Street and Euclid Avenue, and those weirdos walk on opposite sides of the street while they're waving at each other. The reason why is because they were engaged in what is a very aggressive act of pacing around me, okay? While Myra stares at her phone in doing so, look at the images. She's gang stalking. All right, and she's doing so while she's staring at her phone and not walking next to her buddy, her coworker. She wants to walk on the opposite side of the street where I'm at because they're engaging in what is pacing together, which means that they're not going to share and walk together next to each other in the crosswalk. Mickey's on one side of the street and Myra's on the other side of the street. And this is where the entity that is gang stalking using commercial planes, Southwest Airlines, and stalking me by helicopter. And this is the Ovid Family Community Library where I'm subject to that pattern of conduct. Speaking to federal prison for those vagina monitors, Myra and Mickey. Very aggressive conduct. Very aggressive conduct that they're engaging in. Going out of their way to stalk me. That's the entity that goes and pursues you to make a point. And then they do so by keeping their back to you. They do so by keeping their face down, staring at their devices. They do so while they're chit-chatting with other people, and they are there to gang stalk you. All they're requiring is presence. All it requires is activity creation. They look to the opposite side while the helicopter flies over you, and you're subject to that psychological torture in the chambers of your mind where you're being threatened and harassed in a way that's supposed to make it seem like you're existing by yourself and nobody else is noticing it. Myra and Mickey are going to prison. That's what's relevant behind helicopter activity, very heavily documented here, just like when I'm at San Antonio, 903 San Antonio Avenue, where the airline companies are flying over the City Hall from the same Ontario International Airport and are stalking me by flying over San Antonio and J Street. Neither which, not here, nor at San Antonio at 903 North Avenue, are there any planes taken off from the airport. Alaska Airlines, Southwest Airlines, and Delta Airlines are gang stalking me in furtherance of murder, and the entity is going to be federally prosecuted. The entire company, all of the employees of what are Southwest Airlines, of what are Delta Airlines, because they're gang stalking in Dallas, Texas, where Southwest Airlines is headquartered. Where Delta Airlines is headquartered, they're engaged in gang stalking and prosecuting that entire company while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct through the use of that company that are targeting me with commercial planes with the U.S. military. And that's how I'm able to get gang stalkers across the nation. This is the POC. Taking off behind this building and then stalking at what, doing nothing other than stalking by being at 903 San Antonio Avenue. This is also not to a destination. The entity's doing this over the city hall. This is the city hall right here. And that's the fake moon. Watch them fly through it. Those are the mentally ill vagina monitors, POC. This is where the entity has helicopter. This, where the fake moon is. This is where the fake moon was last night. This is where the fake sun rose this morning. This is where the fake sun set today. Okay? That's the POC. Myra and Mickey are going to federal prison. Going out of your way and stalking me, I'm going to make sure I go out of my way and decree over social media, and everybody knows that you're going to federal prison, and they know who told you that it's happening before it happens. Those two homosexuals, those two predators are going to federal prison for gang stalking me and further into murdering me. And I'm not going anywhere. I will be prosecuting them in court, identifying them. They're going to prison as terrorists, violent sex offenders, who levy war against American citizens, who levy war against a woman that they want to be. You want to be me while you're gang stalking me. As humiliated as you are, and even to even admit that, but you are stalking, and it's proven by evidence. This is the POC. That's a whole population of them. A whole population of them. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct. It is currently 8:07 p.m. Vagina monitoring inside of the Ontario Senior Center, POC.